Hey there guys, welcome back to Hursty Games and welcome to more One to Watch FIFA 23 predictions. I did upload another one of these with some other players, so if you haven't seen that and you want to see even more of them, then make sure you go and check out the other video. But if you have, then welcome to part 2 of this. So each time I'm going to be predicting 7 new One to Watch cards, and obviously I'm going to be predicting a lot more than are going to be released, but we're going to have a look at some of the cards that I think have got a really good chance of getting in, some cards that I would quite like to see, and some cards that I think are sadly going to be those little stinky ones in the promo, or will be ones that miss out, either way. But if you do go on to enjoy this video, then please leave a like on it, supports me a whole bunch, hit the sub button if you're new, and turn notifications on to be told anytime that we upload a video. Today, I'm going with a bit of a mix of other things. The last one, we had a lot of attackers. I had one sort of defensive-minded player. There are attackers, obviously, in this one too, but I have got some more defenders, don't you worry. So we will get into these. Just before we do, though, a word from today's video sponsor. Do you struggle with learning how to trade on FIFA Ultimate Team? Well, look no further. Thanks to Futtrading.co.uk. They are hands down the best site to learn all about making coins on FIFA Ultimate Team. You can join their site completely for free and get access to their free trading guides. But if you join on any of their paid tiers, you get access to a whole bunch of trading tips. They've got silver flips, icon flips, special card flips, investment tips. They even have live trading filters for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Plus, on their site, you can join any of their tournaments on Xbox or PlayStation and be in with a chance of winning some amazing prizes. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, head on over to their site. There is a link down below, and if you go to any of their paid tiers, if you throw code Hursty in at checkout, you'll get yourself a cheeky discount. A huge thank you for Futtrading for being partners with us on the channel. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so let's get into our predictions. In the last video, I did have a Barcelona player, and we're going to start off with a Barcelona player. This time, none other than Rafinha is going to be my first predicted One to Watch card. I think he's going to have a pretty decent looking card. I've given him a small upgrade to an 83. I think that there's a good chance that he could make it in. I think there's a few wingers that have transferred a lot of attacking players, as we sort of spoke about in the last episode. And I think Rafinha is sort of one of those like middle ground ratings. He's starting off, I think, going to be at an 83, so sitting at a board. And I think it'll be interesting to see whether he does get into the promo or not. I think he'll have a pretty decent card. The card obviously ever so slightly upgraded on his FIFA 22 card, but I think this will be an interesting one. I like Rafinha. I think it's a good move for him. I think Leeds got some decent money and they've been bringing in some nice players too, but I think if he gets a decent amount of game time, I think this could be a really solid card, and I think he's going to do very well in the Spanish league. So Rafinha is one that I'd like to see, and it is again one of those sort of like middle ratings, a board rated card, nothing crazy but not a stinker. Staying in Spain but going over to Real Madrid, we're going to look at Rudiger. Now I think Rudiger is pretty much a shoe-in for this promo. A very solid centre back. A lot of Chelsea fans obviously gutted that he has gone, and I do genuinely think he is a very solid player. I think it's a pretty good chance to make it in. Again, a lot of good centre-back sort of changes and purchases and transfers, but I think Rudiger's got a really good chance, having gone from such a big team in Chelsea to such a big team in Real Madrid. I really do think this will be a very good card and a very likely one that we will see. I think he will be a very usable card at the start of the game. I'm predicting him to go up to an 85. I do think he will get a boost. He could potentially go to an 86. I wasn't too sure whether I should give him that +3 or if a +2 is enough. I think I've gone with a +2 being enough. I think that is possibly the right call, but regardless, I think he'll be a solid card. Pretty quick for the start of the game, like that early game cycle, like 80 pace or just short of 80 pace as I've predicted on a card in a centre back at the start of a game is not too bad at all. Obviously right now people would look at a 78 pace centre back in FIFA 22 and go, they're far too slow. However, for the start of the game, whack a decent chem style on them, you're looking at 85, just short of 90, and you've got a really solid centre back. So predicted to an 85, and I think Rudiger is one of those that is actually quite likely to get into the promo. We've talked about a transfer from Chelsea. It's time to talk about one to Chelsea, and it's none other than Raheem the Dream Sterling. Again, a card for me that is probably quite likely to make it in, and I'm okay with this. Obviously, as a QPR fan, slightly gutted that he's gone to Chelsea, but I do like Raheem a lot. I think it's a move that makes a lot of sense for him. I think he's going to get a lot more guaranteed playtime at Chelsea, and I think that he is going to be very good. I think Man City will rue letting him go. Obviously, the depth that Man City have got is beyond ridiculous, and it's not like they're going to miss having another winger in the squad, but I do think Sterling is one of the best in the league, and I think he is a very good player. I've upgraded him by 1. Now, I do like Sterling. I think the slight chopping and changing in the season forum was a little bit of a stinker. He got a lot of informs in FIFA 22, and I think EA will take that into account, of the fact that I think he went from obviously an 88 to a 92 in inform. So, you know, we're looking at a good chunk of informs that he got there, at least 4 special cards. And I think that sets him in good stead to get a small upgrade. I think that he will probably play most of the season, if not all of the season. And I think he'll be a very good card at the start of the game. The kind of card that I think, you know, you get early on, very good pace, solid dribbling. You whack a Deadeye on just to get that shooting up a little bit, and you have as an overpowered winger. I think his gold card will be pretty desirable for the good chunk of the start of the game. If this card gets a special card or 2, I think his stats and his price will go through the roof. So Sterling, for me, is a very likely one to happen. We'll stay in the Prem, but we'll look a lot more defensive. We're going to go to Man United, and we're going to talk about Martinez. Now, Martinez, for me, it was a pretty tricky one to kind of go with the rating. I know that he's had a very good couple of seasons. I do like Martinez. I know that he sort of has played that CDM role. He's played centre mid. He's played centre back. I think he's even played fullback at some point, but I don't think it was very often. I think it was for a small chunk of a game because of an injury or something. But a very versatile, very solid player that I think is a very good pickup for Man United. I think he's going to be, hopefully, the beginning of that improvement in defense that they need. I really do rate him, and I think he's going to be a solid addition. I've given him a +2, I believe it was, to go to an 81. So from I think he's got a 79 in FIFA 22. And again, I think this is one of those cards that early on is half decent. I'm thinking like an Eric Bailly. I'm thinking like a Joe Gomez. I don't think he's going to be as overpowered as Gomez was at the start of 22, but I do think that he'll be usable, desirable, and a one-to-watch card that I think is going to be a little bit of a stinker. I won't lie to you. I don't see him getting loads and loads of upgrades unless he really does come into this United side and improve the defensive frailties that they have been stacking up over a period of time. I think he's going to be one of those that kind of is a little bit of a filler for the promo. Even though he's at United, he's in the Prem, he's a solid player. I just see it being sort of like, you know, like a Saul kind of thing. You know, Spanish player who came with a lot of promise to Chelsea last year. His one to watch was a decent card at the start of the game, but it was kind of pointless him being in the promo. Didn't really get much of a boost. If they start off well and they do that the sort of thing where, you know, they get a number of wins in a certain time frame, then a cheeky little free boost on him could be great. If United start well, I think they're going to have a better season than last. So Martinez could be an interesting one. I do think, though, it's likely it'll be a little bit of a stinker. Keeping with the Argentinian theme, we're going to Dybala, who has moved to Roma. And I think that this is, personally, one of the transfers of the window, by the way. I think Dybala is a very, very good player. And I think for the fact they got him on a free is unreal. That scene, if you guys haven't seen that video, I think Fabrizio tweeted it out or retweeted it. The video of him being introduced at Roma is amazing. Goosebumps central. It's such a great video. So if you've got Twitter, go and find it. It's a lovely tribute for him. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, Dybala, I've given him a +1, predicting him to get that 88. He had a decent season by all looks of things, which is, again, a bit of a surprise that he was let go by Juventus, or they didn't choose to re-sign him on. But they had a couple of players that they did that with, Chiellini, for example, although he is about 90 now. So I think that Dybala will be a solid card. I think he'll be pretty desirable. I reckon he's going to have a very good season under Mourinho and over in Roma. I can see him getting plenty of upgrades, and I reckon this will be a super desirable card. I reckon by January, minimum, we're looking at this guy being 90 rated. Absolute minimum. I see him getting probably the boost if they do the boost like they did last FIFA, and getting at least a special card by then. I'd be very surprised if by the new year he hasn't got at least a +2 on this one to watch. I think this will be a super desirable card. Again, I think it's one that's quite likely, and I really look forward to hopefully seeing what he's about at this FIFA, because again, some of the things we have seen, the very limited things we've seen about gameplay, I think a card like Dybala will be very suitable to the early game meta. So Dybala for me, I think, is a great shout. Another transfer to do with a Serie A club. I'm going with Kessie off to Barcelona, another Barcelona player. It's almost as if they're spending a lot of money. Who saw that coming? Barcelona buying Kessie, I think it's a fantastic pickup. I think he's a really solid player. I think he had a decent season. I think, you know, a lot of people would look at his FIFA card and, you know, wax lyrical about how good Kessie is. I think he has got more to come. I think Kessie had a good season, but I think he can do better than he did. And I really look forward to seeing how he does. And hopefully, I think he'll come into that middle of the park and offer something a little bit different to what they currently have. I think Busquets is a player that they are going to miss sorely, with obviously his career now petering off. no disrespect, but obviously an aging player. I think Kessie's going to come in and offer a very, very solid CDM role with the ability of creativity going forward, and with somebody who, you know, can work his way in an attacking mind as well. But I think if he can come in, can work in and amongst the players, sort of like Pedri. I think Pedri is a great player. If he can sort of be that defensive outlet and let Pedri have that little bit of freedom in the middle of the park, he will prove to be a fantastic signing. Again, like Rafinha, I think we'll get some good game time. I think Kessie will be a sure-on player, like a nailed-on player to start, unless he has a torrid time of things. I don't see him not getting 90 minutes most weeks. And I think that this again will be, if Barca go on a nice little run and they do that upgrade thing, that he will get some cheeky upgrades. But I think Kessie will have a good season, and I think he will be a solid card. And again, I've upped him to an 86, so I've got him as a walkout. Sadly, the face value stats on the card don't really add up to what I think an 86 is, but I'm going again based off of how EA do their upgrades, their stat upgrades, in-game upgrades, and the rating of the card. I think it makes sense to be an 86. Sadly, I just don't think the face of the card really matches that. But I think he'll be a great card. I really look forward to trying this card out next FIFA. And if he goes to an 86, then 6. If he gets an 85, I think that's also fair. I'm guessing an 86 though, and I think Kessie could potentially be a one to watch. One of the ones I'm not as confident on. I like linking these between the players and talking about like going from this to this. I don't have a link for this one. Sebastian Haller. I think it's going to be a very, very, very good signing from Borussia Dortmund, him making the move from Ajax in what has been a very good season for him. Obviously had a bit of a tougher time over in the Prem, and it didn't really quite work out for him. There were links with him potentially coming back to the Premier League at a couple of different teams. I think Dortmund have got themselves a fantastic pickup here. He's found his feet a little bit, found the goals, and I think Haller is going to have a very good season over at Dortmund. I was a little bit torn between him and Adeyemi. I won't lie to you, I'll be wholeheartedly honest with you. I was going to put Adeyemi in this list first. However, there's no pictures of him in a Dortmund kit that I could find, so Haller made it in. But I do also feel quite confident that Haller could get into this promo quite easily. I think that it's a perfect signing. I think it's an interesting signing. It's a slow player, so it's one of those that EA could look at and go, it's one of the less desirable ones, because realistically, I've given him a pace boost to 70, and that is on the higher end of how I think EA would potentially do it. If I was doing it solely mathematically on how they do the stat upgrades, he was 69 pace. I put it to 70 because it looks that little bit more desirable having a 7 at the start of it instead of a 6. But I think he'll be a target man, and it's going to be a matter of time as to how efficient and how effective target men are going to be in FIFA 23. FIFA 22, I think there are some really viable target men. Lewandowski Team of the Year is one of my favorite cards of the game. I really absolutely love his card. I think Haller is going to be one of those that has a low value because he's that mid-range rating. It's not like he's a crazy high-rated card, but it's also not the most amazing desirable stat-wise. So Haller, I think, will make it in. It will just be a matter of time as to how good will his card be. I think he'll get upgrades, if that's anything, any consolation at all. But those are my 7 predictions for this video, number 2 of our one to watch predictions. As I said to you guys, I have got like over 30. I've got nearly 40 players now that I have managed to shortlist. Some of them I'm still waiting on some pictures. I need them to play at their teams, or there to be, you know, announcement things of them and their kits. That's what I'm struggling with. I'm not that good of a graphic designer that I can like crop heads onto bodies of other players. I haven't got that kind of ability. But if you guys do enjoy this and there's any players again that you think I've either missed or that you agree with on this, then make sure you let me know down in the comment section. And while you're here, make sure you leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure you turn on notifications after hitting that sub button to make sure you find out whenever we upload a video. If you want to catch on live streams, make sure you check out the link down below. It's Hursty Games over on Twitch. While you're down in the description, look at the links for our channel sponsors. Again, massive thank you to them for supporting the channel. But that is it from me. Thank you for watching. I've been Tom. You guys have been awesome, and I will see you very soon. Look after yourselves, and of course, wash your hands in a bit.
His name is Hursty. Slap bald head, yeah, it'll probably hurt me. Bang top bins, it'll probably hurt you. Ginger, streamer, platform, YouTube. Drop a name in the chat, or say hello. Entertain, yeah, you already know. Capital H, yeah, I'm a read it slow. Hursty Games, yeah, you already know.